Welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena. Tonight, you join us for Boise State in the Mountain West Semifinals. Boise State has made it all the way to the semifinals of the Mountain West Conference. A win here, and they have a chance to take home the championship yet again for what is the fourth or fifth straight year in a row in Overwatch right now. They are on a roll, and they want to keep their championship titles, but can they beat their opponents, the Spartans, in their way? We're just going to see right now as we head on down into the game. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer. I'm joined by Bryce Jensen to call all the action for you. Now, Bryce, Boise State has really had kind of a very smooth ride in the Mountain West. Nothing really challenging them too much, but we did recently have spring break. These players fresh off of a break. We're hoping that they keep up the pace of play that they had when they were in normal practice, because as you said, Boise State, I understand, has a very fast-paced strategy, game plan.
I mean, it's hard to have Wrecking Ball in a composition and not have a super fast play style. I mean, it's sort of just par for the course, especially with Wrecking Ball being a little bit more prevalent in the meta now, with perks being added, adding even more to survivability. But I do think that that aggressive playstyle can come back to sort of be a hindrance for them. We haven't seen it a ton over the whole season, but in this tournament, we have seen it a few times where some cracks in the armor have been shown, some weaknesses get presented, backlines being left unattended, and some people and some of the teams in this conference have found ways to not quite exploit it to its full potential, but they have almost inflamed the wound. It was gotten under control before it became a large problem. However, with Boise State maybe reflecting a little bit on these issues, I feel like teams are going to have to work even harder to make those wounds even larger than they were before.
Well, let's take a look at what these players are having to deal with, what they got to do to perform at their best, and that's going to be Doc's keys to the game. He's given them on the stage as we speak, and so we'll give them to you in the audience right now. In Overwatch, you never take a fair fight, and that means the objective is always worth more than those kills. Position your supports in the right places and take fights in unexpected places as well. It's all brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting. With over 90 years of combined experience, they're proud to be Boise's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know exactly how to level up your home. If you would like to transform your space, then go to blueribbonpainting.net to schedule your free estimate.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is a new key to the game, that objective over kills. Mm-hmm. And it is very, very important to secure that objective over the kills. We have seen way too many C9s, not just in this season, but as a whole. And one map that you especially are prone to C9s on is Lijiang Tower, one of my personal favorites from Control. I mean, it's no Ilios, but it's Lijiang Tower, especially Gardens. You have so much cool potential for playmaking, and especially with players like Strider on the Wrecking Ball, a lot of room for some embarrassing environmental kills.
I would actually say Lijiang Tower probably surpasses Ilios, really, because, I mean, especially on Gardens, you've just got the whole surrounding area of the center site, with the pond that you can get environmental on, but then you also have the bridge as well, and the border of the map. So, I mean, I know the Ilios well is very big and prominent, but I've personally seen a little bit more environmentals on Gardens.
Yeah, sure. You might get more environmentals on Gardens, but well is just, it's so great because everybody knows that well is there. I mean, the same could be said about the two bridges, but the hole is so small for well that when you have the Lucio come up behind you and boop you in, it's even more embarrassing, especially, but it's a lot more entertaining when it does happen for us on this side. However, Lijiang Tower, it opens itself up to a ton of different strategies, and we do have the opening list of players for today. We have Strider on tank, Maxol and Clear on DPS, and rounding out the list will be Hex and Lyric starting tonight for Boise State.
Boise State has had no defeats in the Mountain West, looking to keep on this undefeated streak and get yet another trophy added to the collection. If you ask the head coach of the program, Doc Haskell, he'll be the first to say that these sorts of tournaments where we're competing against similar universities that have that traditional sports aspect, especially since we can tie it in with the Mountain West, our sports conference, these are the ones that mean the most, that these victories matter the most. in terms of what Boise State Esports is looking for. And before we get down to the field, we also want to give a thank you to Dairy West. Boise State players fuel to win with the Dairy West fueling station filled with chocolate milk, cheeses, and other dairy snacks. Dairy West fuels the Broncos.
And unfortunately for us, it does look like we are not going to be starting on Gardens, but we do have a...
Well, we don't know that.
Oh, it almost
an
looked like we
overview of
were
all three.
going into night market there for just a second. I mean, especially at night, I think this is one of the best lit maps in the game. You have all different towers, but never mind, I stand completely corrected. We are going into Gardens first. You got to start this series off with a bang.
3, 2, 1.
And off we go. Boise State, if they are in the blue, is just going to be picking up right where they left off before spring break with that wrecking ball composition. Also having a bit of air control, too, with the Echo being brought out.
Yeah, this is a more traditional dive composition that we are seeing out of Boise State. I mean, the Farah, you do see quite a bit on this map just because of the boot potential, but Love is going to make sure none of it even matters, taking out two before the fight shortly begins. Hex and Clear soon to follow, but Strider is able to keep up a bit of point presence before he's going to have to be forced off.
Yeah, great coordination between Roosty and Pika Pepper, making sure that they had a 2-on-1 versus Clear. Kind of what Doc's Fights keys to the game say, you know, you never take a fair fight. And San Jose State University had just the right backup from their supports to make sure their DPSs got their targets, and it's going to be a great start for them.
Also, grabbing two from out of Love on the Cassidy was definitely a really good thing in this matched up. After Malaria is going to get dove, but Strider gets lit up like a Christmas tree, but luckily he is able to live. Hex takes out Anna, and Lyric unfortunately goes off the map in tandem. Maxwell looking for some chip damage on the Echo, on to Pika Pepper. He's going to find it. Clear goes down to Love, and Roosty quickly picks up Hex, but that is a tank and support down. Strider finishes off Love, and it is just Roosty left. He does have Pulse Bomb, but I doubt he's going to use it for this fight.
It's the first time Boise State has taken the point back for themselves. Strider and Clear getting really close to their first ultimate. Spartans, though, sitting on a couple of their own. They're going to be using the first here. We'll see if this Deadeye can get anything. No, he just falls off the edge instead.
Oh, unfortunate pathing for Love, but Tybee and Astro Malaria are not quite able to escape the wrath of the Wrecking Ball, both falling themselves. Clear is currently on a manhunt for Roosty, but Roosty is able to get away for now, but not quite. He is on the run. He is fearing for his life. I don't know how Clear hasn't finished him off yet, but from the looks of things, it isn't going to be very long. It's going to be Hex to get the kill in the end, staggering SJSU and making sure Boise has a bit of an advantage moving forward.
More ultimates coming online for the Broncos. Kitsune Rush on deck, and then we're also going to have the Duplicate and the Sound Barrier. Everything available to them. Pulse Bomb will try to find someone, doesn't quite get anyone. Did take a good amount of health, though, off of Tybee. He does manage to survive, though, and both teams still at 5-5. Lyric going to get the first blood of the fight, taking out Roosty.
Out comes the Duplicate out of Maxwell with the Winston, gets the Primal Rage, but is unfortunately popped out of the Duplicate. Both Beat and Kitsune Rush come out of Boise State supports, with Beat to follow from Pika Pepper, but unfortunately it is not enough. Maxwell is moving like a freight train.
Even more unfortunate, Pika Pepper using that Sound Barrier in the last fight, as well as the Nano Boost from Alstro. They'll swap over to the Kitsune Rush, but it means Boise State, even though they used 4 ultimates the last fight, they still got ult advantage.
Yeah, Clear manages to take down Love. You don't see that interaction very often. Astro Malaria getting dove very hard, but manages to force out the recall. Hex is going to take out Roosty, and Tybee kind of in an unfortunate position here. No one to really dive, and Pika Pepper is going to go down to a Lyric Strider dive. You wouldn't expect Kiriko to work so well in these dives, since she pretty much has to use Swift Step to get in, but at the same time, we see it so often, and Astro Malaria is actually going to pick Strider off in this engagement. Love is going to make his way back to the point with Deadeye this time. Whether he uses it or not this fight, we will never know, but Lyric is able to clear out Astro Malaria and Roosty soon to follow. Boise State still holding firmly onto this point.
Love bringing out the Deadeye. It's a desperate last bit of a desperate last Hail Mary, but it's not going to go through. San Jose State University will fall in Gardens, and Boise State off to a good start, picking up 1.
Yeah, that Deadeye damage reduction is nothing to sneeze at. I believe it's almost a 50% damage reduction, and it's enough to live a lot of what this game can throw at you. You can live pulse bombs. You can't live diva bombs, but you can come pretty close. But you can live so much with just one push of a button, and sometimes it's worth it. And most of the time, Deadeyes don't go through, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's where the perk comes in. That gives you 30% ult charge back if you miss it.
That is nice, but you talk about 50% damage reduction, but then there's the 99% movement reduction, which is usually the bigger problem.
You basically turn into a sentry.
All right, off we go. Boise State heading on into Control Tower. Boise State just one away from opening the first round of the match with a W in their column. San Jose State University has brought a May out, but they aren't even getting far enough ahead to be able to possibly use it. They're trying to bring it out here in the server room, but Boise State is claiming so much ground for themselves as Strider's just bodying everybody, but Maxwell gets taken out first blood over Roosty. It will be evened out thanks to Clear, but Roosty and Tybee are keeping the pain up on Boise State. They get rid of the last few remaining Broncos, and that'll send them back to start.
That was just unfortunate. We saw Tybee and Love at the very beginning there get dropped down to under 100 health in Tybee's case, and in Love's case, he was just one shot away from dying from just about anybody on Boise State's lineup. That is just not what you want to see, especially in such a tight location. Hex is already down to half health, but Strider taking this and go running with it, manages to get after Malaria from behind everybody. Roosty going down low and forces block, and Pick-a-Pepper and Love both going down to Lyric as well. Tybee is going to fall, and Roosty soon to follow. Boise State taking it back before SJSU can hit the 30 mark.
Very nice little comeback by the Broncos. This is basically how Gardens also started out as well, losing the first initial fight, but then really stabilizing, especially with these sentry turrets here. It's going to form quite the painful car wash for anyone who wants to go through. Already putting a bit of damage onto Tybee. The Blizzard will be popped by San Jose State University, as well as the Nano Boost pushed onto Roosty. We'll see if they can land the right clicks, but Strider brings out his own ultimate to make him even more tanky. Annihilation followed by the Photon Barrier by Clear to give the Boise State the shielding they need to survive that damage spike from the Spartans and win this fight, continuing on their journey.
Unfortunately for San Jose, a Blizzard and Nano Boost, while it will get you fairly far, if the Blizzard doesn't hit anybody, then it loses a lot of its value. Both sound barriers are still on the table for both teams. I'm surprised nobody has used them yet. Maxwell does bring out the artillery barrage. It doesn't hit anybody, but Deadeye has come out. Tybee with the Annihilation forces out the orbital ray. Pick-a-Pepper with the sound barrier and Hex soon to follow. Every ult is being used. Tybee trying to get Hex, and even with him anti, he still cannot find anything. Clear picks Roosty. Tybee down past 100, and it is just Tybee left to hold it, trying to be healed from spawn, but Boise State has SJSU in a chokehold.
Doesn't even matter that the wave may well split up Strider. Spartans were just so low on health across the board that Strider could just face them all at once, take them out. Now Boise State has brought this down to last fight territory. They want to keep the Spartans as far away from any entrance as possible. We see the Nano Boost brought out onto Roosty, trying to rain damage down from above. Tybee and Love both pick up one onto Maxwell and Clear, and Boise State is without their DPSs, so they're going to have to move on back, and we do have one at least touching the point. Would you bring the Photon Barrier out and the Symmetra teleports to help Boise State get back onto the point to contest this as a full unit?
Yeah, as SJSU, you needed to touch the point in order to keep this thing going. Astro Malaria did make the swap over to Juno. Strider is trapped, though, by the Junkrat, but not before taking out Tybee. Nobody's on the point to contest. Roosty tries, but Clear gets him. Beat doesn't go through. Boise State takes round one.
Great start for the Broncos, one in their column. And we also get to see who will get the first nod of play of the game. It's going to be Hex, actually. Fourth play of the game as Lucio. I wonder if there might have been any sort of environmentals that we didn't quite see here.
I think Tybee got taken out.
There we go.
Oh, and Love got taken out as well. I knew Tybee ended up, unfortunately, falling off the map. I think he left one of the banana peels that he was eating around and accidentally slipped off. Unfortunate for Winston. But it proves a point that you shouldn't litter. you gotta pick up those banana peels.
Yep. You really need to be a responsible citizen, or else you will pay the price and be sleeping with the fishes. Well, really good start for the Broncos. It seems like they really haven't lost their step, although I was really impressed with the Spartans for the way that they opened up each fight, especially the first fight, Clear, fighting off to the left. You know, he kind of found himself in a 2-on-1 because their Lucio was so speedy around picking up. I think it's going to be, you know, the team that is able to really support these fast, quick DPSs, or the DPSs who want to get their kills fast, like a Tracer. That's going to be proven super advantageous to them, whoever has the better coordination.
And we also saw that in the first fight of both of those rounds. Boise State lost several players before they even started those fights. I want to highlight Love on the side of SJSU for his Cassidy gameplay, especially with conjunction with a Lucio. Cassidy does so much damage on his own, and when he's already sped up, he can just move and he can get a ton of stuff done, especially with the Hinder Grenade as well, cutting out all movement abilities. It pretty much makes Clear on Tracer a sitting duck for a lot of these engagements. And same with Maxwell on Echo as well.
Boise State now waiting for San Jose State University to choose the next stage. Normally, Boise State has had a relatively pain-free journey through the Mountain West, winning things 3-0. I think one time they've been 3-1, but it hasn't at all gone to a fifth stage. Normally, these have been clean sweeps, and judging by the fast start that we got off onto Control, Boise State has put the Spartans in the tricky situation of what stage do you pick? Because if you go with an old favorite like Kings Row for the second one, well, Boise State has played on Kings Row to the umpteenth time and has consistently gotten wins on it. But then they've also gotten a lot of practice this season on stages that might not be chosen as much, including Blizzard World, which has unexpectedly in the latter half of the Mountain West season become one of their favorite stages to play on.
Yeah, a ton of Blizzard World, was a lot more than what I've seen anyway. And I mean, it's a nice breath of fresh air. Love Kings Row. Think it's great. But at the same time, you do want to switch it up just a little bit for our viewing pleasure and the audience's viewing pleasure. But of course, if it's what you're comfortable on, it is what you're going to go to. And it does look like we are going to see that pick right now.
Okay,
and it is going to be Kings Row.
Kings Row.
All reliable.
Boise State, no stranger to having a complete hold on that first point. They've gotten that a variety of times, but it is a narrow rope to walk with how far away that spawn is from the first point. Boise State, though, I mean, if we look at the overall history of Kings Row, I mean, whether they want to play super fast, like they do with the Wrecking Ball. I mean, they brought him out several times on Kings Row, or whether they want to go back to something more classic and more brawly. I mean, we certainly saw Ramatra come through clutch. Strider can play anything pretty darn well.
Yeah, and we've also seen Zarya pretty frequently over the past few games, but we're just going to have to wait and see as we move into round 2 on Kings Row, of all places. And I mean, it feels a little bit fitting to have the semifinals on Kings Row. It is the staple hybrid map, and every player's played Kings Row at least a handful of times in this sort of setting. And you know, maybe we might see a few Reinhardts come out just for a little bit of honor of the game, honor and glory, if you will.
Well, that's certainly the understatement of the century, that they've each played Kings Row a number of times. That is quite the understatement. But I mean, it isn't false.
But what is that number?
A million is a number.
A million is a number, yes. But I think it's too big. I don't know if anybody's played a million games of just Overwatch.
Oh, I'm sure someone has. I'm sure there's some sort of streamer out there who's done some sort of challenge.
16. Yeah.
You don't want to underestimate what people will do to get in Guinness.
Yeah, you guys can't see me right now, but I'm doing finger math because I don't know how to count. It's been 9 years since Overwatch 1. If every match is like 10 minutes, there's... I like the
Perfect visceral also representation of Bryce's brain pattern right here. His train of thought, it just stops. The game stops as well.
The steam blowing out of my ears sent the fire alarms off, tripped the breaker somewhere. So
I also don't think if you're answering a question of who's played Overwatch a million times, then your hands that go up to 10 aren't going to be the best.
Well, no, I was doing finger math because like if every game lasts 10 minutes and there's 60 minutes an hour, that's round 6 games of Overwatch. This is on average. I mean, of course, we can't really count J3's 20-second game of 2CP. I mean, at the beginning of Overwatch 1. But okay, so assuming that they sleep for 8 hours a day, that's 16 hours of Overwatch times 6.
Doesn't product. Yes, I was calling this out. I was going to say they have the perfect overlay.
96. So 96 games of Overwatch a day. Okay, I'm breaking out this. So 365 times 96 is. I'm breaking out the first grade math triangles. They work very well. 291. Okay, then you gotta move the decimal over. This. Yeah, that's how you do it. 8. You gotta bring over 5.
I mean, I've got a laptop right here. I could pull up the calculator
26.
anytime, but this is much more entertaining. So I'm just gonna let him continue.
Yeah, you gotta let me struggle with it. Okay, 4, 0.
Yep.
9. So that's 29,040 games of Overwatch in a year. And then you times that by 9.
Yeah, that's short of a million.
0, 6, 3, 3, 81. 18 plus 8 is 26. So, at max, if you played Overwatch every single day since the game opened, you would have played 261,360.
Yep.
I mean, Flats might be close to that number, but that's the only streamer I can think of that comes close.
I mean, I was personally thinking 261,370, but we'll take, give or take about 10.
Give or take 10.
Well, but Boise State, I mean, I would still wager that the times they have played Kings Row, even if it hasn't been 261,000, I would wager it is in the thousands. The times
I honestly, I really wouldn't doubt that. It feels like every time I play Hybrid, it is Kings Row. But, I mean, I'm not complaining because it is Kings Row in the end. And I didn't know that I'd be doing math for this job, but,
You did excellent.
I did math. I did more multiplication than I've done
I see.
in 2 years.
We need to swap over to daytime, I see.
Yeah, you got to swap over to daytime. The nighttime map, Boise State, they got the black jerseys on. It makes them harder to see.
It's kind of like a blue field advantage.
Yeah, it's like a blue field advantage deal. You don't know where the players are coming from.
Yeah. I totally see. And, you just need to go out and get some sunlight every now and again.
Yeah. I mean, vitamin D is very, very important. I mean, you get your vitamin D from Sunny D. I don't know if that's true or not. I read that on a tabloid.
I think that's just short for Sunny Delight.
It's more fun to think it means vitamin D.
So we started off with Overwatch game calculations, and we moved on to talking about Sunny Delight, not sponsored, by the way. So, I mean, time will only tell, what we're talking about between the next game, this sort of wonderful, in-depth commentary you can only get from Boise State Esports.
But first and foremost, we are going into the real game this time. Anti already out. Tybee Cox brought down low, but he's right outside his spawn, so it isn't going to do a whole lot in the end. What an anti-nade placement from Lyric.
Yeah, that was so fast. He had no time at all to react to it. Now over to the side, though. Clear also getting a good angle, side angle onto the Spartans as they try to push past the gate. Lyric, another anti-nade has been placed down onto Tybee. They are definitely trying to focus down that from Matra, or at least just keep him at bay. That's a good Maywall, though. Strider also gets hit with the biotic grenade as well, and he will fall. Great ability usage by the Spartans to be able to isolate and take down Boise State's tank.
Yeah, quality over quantity in this case. I mean, it doesn't matter how many antis Lyric is able to hit. If they cannot follow through on them, it makes it a lot harder to get anything done. Roosty with the May is making it a lot easier, especially with that wall. Hex gets caught out and blown up. They didn't take out Maxwell, though, so he's free to shoot down, but with Strider also going down as well, Boise State is going to lose the first point. SJSU already pushing it towards point 2.
Absolutely perfect usage of the Maywall. Now San Jose State University with a whopping over 5 minutes in the bank. They could build up a hefty amount of time to push through that challenging factory at the very end. Boise State, Maxwell set up on the high ground, getting very close to his ultimate, the artillery configuration, and also you got Clear getting close on the photon barrier, but right now it's going to be the Spartans who have the ult advantage. Both their support ultimates up and also the Deadeye.
Yeah, Maywall does come out, and so does Kitsune Rush, but nothing quite comes out of it. They are still going to push forward with it, though, because it wasn't a total miss, but the Nano Boost comes out and goes on to Tybee, and the Photon Barrier comes out just for good measure to keep him back. Maxwell does end up falling to Roosty, and Boise State is forced to fall back, but not for long. Lyric with the Nano Boost is able to get it on Strider, and he gets the boost, but doesn't find anything. Manages to get Love just without the Deadeye, and Boise State gets the team kill. What a wall out of Roosty.
I know, he's playing his heart out right now with how he's placing down these walls, whether it's to split up Boise State or give his teammate just a little bit of an unexpected elevation change. He is trying to use that ability to its fullest. And also, he's got the perk that makes the cooldown lower, too. So he just wants to use the wall as much as possible.
And if Love would have just held off with that trigger finger for just another second, they might have won that fight, too. But unfortunately, just not quite enough to get it done in the end. But Strider, having a bit of point presence, needs to watch out for Roosty. He's made himself a threat. He does end up pushing forward, and the Blizzard comes out as well. Anti Strider goes down low and goes down to Tybee. Roosty does get taken out by Clear, but Love is enough to take out Maxwell with a little bit of help from Tybee. And with the last remaining embers of that Annihilation, Clear is going to go down. Hex does find one on Love, but TMO manages to take out Hex as well. Boise State has lost the second point, and now with, I believe, 4.5 minutes going into this next point. Yep, I called it right on the money.
You got it right on the nice.
It's all that math. I got really good at numbers from 10 seconds of very complex math algorithm. Strider getting brought down low, forced to use the pummel, and it just doesn't find anything. Annihilation is forced to pop, but Love goes down. Roosty makes his end as well, and out comes the Kitsune Rush. Unfortunately, not enough people to really have a great push off of it, and Boise State is going to be able to hold them there.
Even though Boise State got a few good eliminations, the forward progress is mostly unstopped. Now we're going to get to the first corner as this is one charged up Sim. Left click, and the Photon Barrier goes out as well. San Jose State University, Tybee takes out Clear, and that is just about going to be it. That Photon Barrier not really doing too much to turn the tide of battle. San Jose State University nearing the last corner.
Yeah, playing the Ana in this composition as your main source of healing is a little bit dangerous. SJSU, all they really have to do is run down the Ana, and everybody else falls after that. Clear does fall on the Ashe to Alstro on Kiriko, and that is the go signal for Boise State, or for SJSU to push forward. Tybee finds Maxwell, and Roosty almost goes down in the process, but he manages to stay up. Hex doesn't manage to find the kill on Astro, but Strider still holding the point against Tybee, but with the Annihilation and the Blizzard, it is not going to be enough. SJSU taking the point with almost 3 minutes left on the clock.
Putting their foot down and making a statement that they are not to be counted out. They think they have just as much right to be in the Mountain West Grand Finals as Boise State does. Taking a look back on how things transpired for their forward push. Boise State tried to do, yeah, I think we just got to go back. You know, I could talk about what Boise State's doing, but really, Roosty played their heart out.
I do think that, watching that clip back, I think he used the wall right before or right after the Deadeye went through, so it didn't get the full effect. And that's why it didn't do as good as it probably could have. But I mean, it was still a really good idea if the trigger finger wasn't so itchy. You know, you got to scratch that itch every now and again. But moving into attack, I think what Boise State needs to really focus on is keeping Ana safe, because poor Lyric was getting hunted down like the last turkey before Thanksgiving. And unfortunately, just with Lucio, it makes it really hard to keep up that engagement when your main source of healing has bitten the dust.
Boise State has an incredible pace to meet if they want to try to claim this in overtime. So many times on Kings Row in the Mountain West, it has just ended with no overtime because the Broncos have been that dominant. But now they have to make this go long and hopefully finish strong to be able to claim the victory and go to match point. Boise State going to bring out the wrecking ball for attack. See how this sort of very fast. I mean, they have a lot of verticality here with the Juno, the Ash, and the wrecking ball. They love playing on these second floor vantage points here on Kings Row.
Yeah, and I think Strider's snapped out of the Ramatra and is back to his old self on the Wrecking Ball. Takes a lot of damage, but manages to distract them for long enough to take out Alstro. TMO4 also going down to clear as well. And now all that is left is to hunt down the survivors while that point keeps ticking. Love goes down, and so does Tybee, and Roosty to follow. Boise State manages to capture incredibly quickly, already putting themselves with almost 6 minutes to capture second point.
Yeah, when the Spartans claimed the payload, they had just about 5 minutes, so Boise State finding the very narrow road that is slightly faster than the Spartans. They want to make sure they don't lose any team fight whatsoever, and they certainly don't want to get caught in this infamous choke point here at the Arch, so they've already pushed up very far. And speaking of pushing up, Boise State is getting close to their first couple of ultimates, Clear and Maxwell being the first ones you're going to want to watch.
Yeah, and having Hex on that Brig is going to be incredibly helpful just to push the point, and it prevents, and it gets a lot of value when this Brawl composition that the Spartans are running manages to go through. Tybee gets brought down really low, forced to use his pummel form. Strider manages to get in to do a ton of damage. Clear does go down, but Roosty to follow. That is a lot of utility out of the way of the Spartans, but Maxwell gets the duplicate onto the Ramatra and is able to start putting in work. Strider decides to take a little nap, but it doesn't matter. Maxwell's got the tank for now. It does look like Love is going to get the Deadeye out, and it is going to take out Maxwell, but it does force out Kitsune Rush. That's one less ultimate to contend with, and Boise State is coming up on 3 of their own.
Basically, they were able to re-hit almost instantly after the Spartans spend all of their ultimates. The minefield doing work for Strider, helping them to take out Love. Alstro also falls, as well as Tybee. I mean, it might even just be trying to find something cheeky in the factory as well.
I feel like every time we see a Strider from another person's view, if he's not directly attacking them, it's like watching a horror villain just walk across the screen really slowly.
Well, you were so proud of how you called 4 minutes 30 seconds, but Boise State claimed that one with about 5 minutes 30 seconds, so they're still staying a minute ahead. Bob is going to come in, eliminate Roosty. Orbital Ray also spent by Boise State. San Jose State University is trying to make some sort of last stand with the Nano onto Tybee, and then he uses his Annihilation, but Boise State not falling to him at all, just waits it out, takes him out, and now they just got to round a few corners, and they will be looking at a huge time bank for overtime.
Also, it has been 1 minute, and Strider already has Minefield back. I just want to point out how crazy fast that is for a character you don't expect to get ultimate that quick, but Roosty is going to find out how much those turrets hurt fairly quick. Clear manages to take out Love's turret now that he's on the Torbjorn, and Clear with the advantage point is just able to shoot down on the rest of the team. Tybee with the Diva is going to try and counter dive, but it's not going to do a ton with that coach gun. Strider already on the supports, and Rally comes out of Hex. If now's the time to use ultimates for Boise State, now is the time. Minefield comes out, Love goes down, Tybee tries to touch, but the mines prevent any chance of that happening. Boise State manages to roll through SJSU.
Yep. Set them up with the old classic catch-22. They need to stop the payload, but there are mines all over the payload, so no one is allowed to touch that. Boise State, I mean, I think they only got stopped once, and even then it was just more of a, trying to wait out all of the Spartans' ultimates that they had built up, and then they wasted no time getting right back in there. I mean, there was basically little to no slowdown on Boise State's push.
Yeah, I feel like the Spartans have shown that they will win in a lot of these more brawly, drawn-out fights, but if you can hit them hard where it hurts, it really, really hurts, especially with Anna on their side. Boise State back on the defense, deciding to go for ball this time. They snapped out of the Ramatra. Strider, he's pretty good on Ramatra, but he's better on the Wrecking Ball, and I feel like we saw that in the last one where the Spartans sort of cosplayed as bowling pins.
Boise State realizing that in order to win, they need to treat this as a push business, a push, push, push business. It's push, 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 all the way, all the time, all the way right down the line. Push, push, push.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And they're just going to have to keep on pushing, and I feel like it's even more so for the Spartans here. They had a large time bank, doesn't look very large right now against Boise State's Clear taking up the high ground on the Ash. Doesn't end up hitting the dynamite, but just its presence is able to push them off. But Strider, that was a really power of friendship kill from the Spartans. Everybody had a part to play in the takedown of Strider on the Wrecking Ball. Everybody has been sort of pushed up onto that high ground. Roosty trying to take it away, and Alstro has pretty much free reign to heal the rest of his team.
But the thing is, the Wrecking Ball Strider, he's already back and ready to fight. Boise State is great at being able to re-hit this and prevent a full take. Gets hit with the biotic grenade. Strider's now just trying to escape with his life. Won't be able to. Love takes him out. Now Boise State might just have to move on back. And unless they can hold this for Strider to respawn yet again. Second tick gotten by the Spartans. Clear bites the dust. And I don't know if the rest of the Broncos can really do that much. If they can maybe win this duel with the maid, which they do, but it's not on the actual payload, so San Jose State University will get the payload pushing forward.
I mean, even if it was on the payload, I don't really think Maxall could have done a ton in that 1v4. Love does end up taking out Hex, too. What a stagger, too. Alstro taking up a very aggressive position. I mean, Kiriko has one of the best survivability just abilities in this game with Swift Step. Strider is able to pressure out that Swift Step, but is brought down quite a bit in the process. Maxwell has his ult. Clear and Strider looking really close to theirs, but Lyric is going to be the first one out of Boise State to get their ultimate. Maxwell is probably going to have to use it this fight, maybe in conjunction with a Nano Boost, but nope, it goes to Strider. Gets the Biotic Grenade onto Strider. Blizzard and High Noon all coming out. Same with Nano Boost and the Kitsune Rush. Love isn't able to find anybody, but Maxwell has to use Duplicate in order to live.
And the Nano Boost completely wears off for Strider, so those hopes and dreams will have to wait. Maybe the minefield will do a little better. He gets hit with the Biotic Grenade again. TM04 has definitely been hitting his target every single time with that ability. Bob brought out by Clear. Maybe a 6v5 will clinch it for Boise State. It sure will. Tybee and Roosty both falling down. Boise State, stop it. San Jose State University with only 4. 86.14 meters. They've got it.
I think tempo was the really big thing in that fight. We saw Nano Boost, Kitsune Rush, Blizzard, Deadeye, and I'm sure if he had it, Tybee would have been using that Annihilation too, all in one fight, and it didn't really do anything. Like, that choke point is so incredibly difficult to use a lot of ults on. We saw Boise State use one at a time. We saw the Nano Boost come on the Strider, that didn't work. Strider then doubled back and used the Mines. The Mines didn't work, he doubled back, and then the Bob came out. The staggered ult usage was, I think, what ended up winning Boise State that team fight, because wow, the Spartans were really pummeling Boise State in those first few team fights.
It was the tempo. Or, in other words, the push, push, push.
The push, 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 or the tempo, tempo,
that's
tempo.
What I want to see. Push, 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 Boise. Push, push, push.
Or
they just have to get halfway through the streets, and they will have claimed round 2.
Yeah, I mean, they did it in less than 3 minutes for their other attack. So, I mean, we don't know. There's a lot more riding on this. This is overtime. This is for all the marbles, for the whole enchilada. This is for everything. Or not quite for everything. It's for match point of
marbles,
everything.
The whole enchilada, everything, and the kitchen sink.
Everything and the kitchen sink, yes. And that's what they need to throw at Boise State if they want to tie this up 1-1.
Boise State going to be starting out with a bit of air superiority. Maxwell has already built up both his major and minor perks, so he's going to stay on the Fara, keep both of those online. And you got to understand also Strider has his major perk online, which is just going to make that pile drive even more of a pain for the Spartans to deal with. They got a lot going for them, the Broncos, and a slam right on into Tybee, who's down to about half health. He is trying to tank it out and survive. Strider has almost helped Boise State claim their first tick. Going after the supports and almost catches the brig.
TM, I'm not even sure how he lived that. If Strider just had a little bit more airtime, bye-bye Brig. Hinder grenade comes out, but it is not enough with a little bit of help from Maxwell. Love goes down, and that's a lot of damage output gone. And now Maxwell behind the supports with the barrage. They forgot it can move now. TM04 goes down. Tybee as well with the break bash, and Maxwell is trying to duel Alstro. And from the looks of things, it's not going super well for him, but it is forcing them to back off. Roosty does go down in the process, and with just under 2 minutes left on the clock, Boise State manages to capture. They just got to get it to second point. That's all they got to do.
Push, 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 Boise. That's what they need to do. They're going to wait for that payload to unlock, push their way past the arch. Now getting right in Tybee's face. Clear and Lyric both sustaining a good bit of damage, managed to heal up. Now the payload moving forward for Boise State. Strider ready to make his way around the corner. Getting close to that minefield, which has been the deciding factor of so much of the time. He's getting ready to pile drive right on down into the back line. Gets hit with the biotic grenade, but now he has his minefield online. Not using it quite yet as the nano boost being pushed onto Tybee, making him just a bit too dangerous right now to deal with, as well as the blizzard being spent by the Spartans. Now we're under 1 minute, and the Spartans have pushed Boise State all the way back to the choke point. Strider now in a bit of a rough position, needs to kind of regroup with his team, but is just way out in no man's land.
Although I will say SJSU needed 4 ults to finish out that fight. Maxwell is enclosing on his. Lyric has Orbital Ray. Clear has Bomb, and Strider with that almighty minefield as well. That is nothing to scoff at. 30 seconds left on the regular clock. Gets hindered out of the pile drive, but with the mines is able to take out Roosty. Deadeye takes out Lyric, but does not stop the Orbital Ray. Clear marching forward. Maxwell gets TM04, and now it is fairly evened up for the Ultimates. Roosty does swap over to the Tracer, but it might be a bit too little too late. If he can make it, they might have a chance. Love and Tybee both go down. He manages to get to point, but he just cannot hold on. Hex manages to get the final kill of this map. Boise State closes out a nail-biting second round.
We hit 5-4 on Kings Row. Moving on to match point. Play of the game going on over to Strider as the Ramatra, not the Wrecking Ball, which is a little bit funny because Boise State wasn't really able to fully stop San Jose State University when they used the Ramatra. They turned their fortunes around when he swapped to the Wrecking Ball, but the game certainly doesn't concur.
I mean, you can argue with a lot of things, but a nano-boosted Ramatra is really hard to argue with, especially when Annihilation comes into play. You just have so much damage being pumped out. You can pierce enemies. Shields don't matter because they just go through, and it's really hard to counter that, and we saw that a few times from the side of Boise State with Tybee's Ramatra being a real force to be reckoned with, especially when TMO was playing that Ana and getting that nano boost up in Adam. I mean, we did see the swap from the Ana to the more Brig Juno comp that we've seen so many times since Juno was added, but was it really the call?
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was also, just to address, what happened this week. Also, just a few balance changes coming in too. Juno getting hit just slightly as well in terms of the orbital ray charge rate as well. Just increasing that because that's been one of the most powerful ultimates to ever start fighting with.
It is a I win button, essentially. If you can hit your shots well inside of it, it's pretty much a better Mercy's Guardian Angel. Because you get both the healing and the damage. You don't really have to choose, but it really just all depends on how it is used. But when you have Clear on the Ash, being able to 2-tap anybody, no matter if you're a 250 health or a 300 health, you get evaporated by 2 good shots from Ash.
Yeah, I like placing the win button right next to the push button. That's
Yes.
what you need in order to win here as we move on to round 3. Match point for Boise State. Before we get to that, one final thank you to Dairy West. Boise State players fuel to win with the Dairy West fueling station filled with chocolate, milk, cheeses, and tons of dairy snacks. Dairy West fuels the Broncos.
Yeah, but going into round 3, the Spartans have shown a lot of forward momentum. They haven't won a round yet, but they took Broncos to overtime and they actually managed to burn a lot of the time. You'd think that a 5-minute time bank would be more than enough, but still taking them to overtime is nothing to really scoff at, especially a team that hasn't lost like Boise State has. I mean, San Jose has been a pretty frequent rival of the Broncos in the Mountain West for, I believe, the entirety of Overwatch, as it has been a Mountain West game. But maybe this might be the map that they need. They just needed a third map to really say, hey, this is what we're doing. The Ana and the May worked really well last time. If we can just lock down one player of the Broncos and just churn and burn, then maybe that's what they need.
Boise State just needs one more. You can see Daydream and Diamond Dog sitting on the far right of the stage. There you go, Strider. I can tell he's Strider also because you can see his name on the sticker above there. So in case you couldn't tell, yep, that's Strider.
It's also Headset 3.
It's Headset 3, which belongs to Strider.
What happened to the first 2? We'll never know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe we can play a little bit of a detective game, you know, trying to look for the stickers on each individual headset. Because, yeah, they are on the top there, so just zoom in and enhance the image. And
I mean, you'd think that Doc would have headset number 1, being the coach.
Okay, headset number 2 is Daydream. So we've solved that mystery, but we just don't know who has headset number 1.
That is true. Diamond Dog doesn't have a headset number, though.
No, just has...
And I think Clear brought his from home.
So, I mean, this is going to be the mystery that's going to be... that's going to be peeking at my mind every single waking moment of the day is who has the fabled Headset 1. You know, my dad used to speak about Headset 1, only talked about in Legend.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even heard of Headset number 1 until this conversation, but I will say controller number 1, I knew where that one was all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as the oldest.
Yeah.
Controller
that's the birthright. Yeah, best controller goes to the, and then you throw the Mad Catz third-party controller.
Yeah, it's either the oldest or the host.
Yep.
And sometimes it's sometimes it's a mix mash of both. You never quite know.
That's also how you know which of your friends was well off. The one friend who could afford 4 first-party controllers. Then you were like, oh, yeah,
I mean, personally, I only had 2, but I mean, that was enough for Wii Sports Resort back in the day when you could just pass the controllers around and call it good.
That is true, the classic hot seat. All of us taking this trip down memory lane, I mean, we've talked about math, we've talked about Sunny D, and now we've talked about third-party controllers. Everything except the actual matchup, which we actually need to get to because Boise State is at match point.
Yes. I mean, 261,360 games can't be wrong. I mean, one of these players has to come close to it in hours, to be this good at the game. But honestly, I think San Jose has a chance to turn this one around. I really do. We've seen them go. We saw them do pretty good in the first fights the first round. Didn't quite do a whole lot outside of that, but there was a spark. Then for this next round, they got that flame going a little bit. They got some kindling, and they brought it to overtime. Both teams managed to just barely get the cart to where it was. And in round 3, the natural conclusion of that would be a fingernail-biting, just close game all the way through. And I think they can make it work. The Ramatra's been working. Everything's been working for San Jose. It's just Boise State has had a little bit better execution on a lot of their strategies. And the one
asterisk to San Jose State's performances, yes, they have won a number of team fights, but almost all of the team fights or best moments that they've had have come from situations where they've saved 3 or more ultimates up, which is what you want to do, don't get me wrong, but it usually takes a huge ult dump to be able to just bowl over Boise State for the Spartans to win, and they really need to start winning more in those one-on-one dry fight situations.
Whoa, 5 ults be upon ye.
Yep, that's the way it is.
Yeah, and unfortunately on a map like Kings Row, you can't really use a whole lot of ultimates at the same time, especially with the cart taking up so much space in those alleyways. Annihilation is good, Blizzard is good, Deadeye is good, but when you're using them all at the same time with the cart acting as a lot of natural cover, you waste a lot of that potential, especially for an ult like Deadeye and Annihilation that directly rely on line of sight. Blizzard, not so much, but you are definitely losing a lot of that potential just with the size you have to work with.
We're going to get word on what has been chosen, and it is Esperanza. And if I was talking push, push, push before, I'm going to be talking push, push, push again because we are on push for Esperanza. Boise State, last time they fought on this, by the way, I believe they went the whole distance. They claimed it all outright. If you remember that great Graviton Surge reversal by Boise State that led to the Death Blossom, which just tore through everybody.
Oh, that was great. And then it was followed up by a pretty hilarious, what was it, Flashpoint game as well. And I will say, Esperanza is a really fun map. It's probably the most fun to watch out of all of the push maps. It's probably the best mirrored out of all the push maps, in my opinion. I mean, it's a nice little W shape almost. Wait, the bot.
Okay, wait. He's mastered his numbers, but he needs to master his letters now. So.
Well, no, you gotta imagine all the different ways that you can go.
It goes down
because like the bot starts here. No, you can't do numbers because it's directions.
No, there are letters there. See, X minus Y.
Because like it goes up and then it turns around after the checkpoint and then it
moves down.
Wait. No, because it like does this. I don't know.
I mean, here, give me the dry, the dry erase marker. So it starts here, and you got this, and it turns it down. Then you go under the bridge, and then you turn around and you move up and to the right. And so we mirror that up on the other side, and it is kind of a W shape. Yeah, it's a very fancy W shape.
It's cursive W.
It's a cursive W with a mustache. That's the best way to describe it. All right, on we go to Esperanza, Boise State versus San Jose State University. Broncos versus the Spartans. If Broncos win this, then they will secure their ticket to the Mountain West Grand Finals and have a chance to win the championship yet again. Have to also wonder who's on the other side of that bracket. If they're old rivals, the UNLV Rebels might be raring to go up against the Broncos in the finals, as it has been for so many years. But we're just going to have to see as we head on down to Esperanza.
And it might be new blood, too. Someone that we haven't seen in the finals quite yet, but looking to take a shot at the Titan, if you will, and make a name for themselves outside of wherever they are in their esports scene, making waves, if you will. But I do see a Wrecking Ball in the corner there, and I do believe that is what they're going to be rolling out on. No more Ramatra, back to business, back to Wrecking Ball. It's weird to say that in the same sentence, business and Wrecking Ball.
Off we go, though, and Spartans are going to be choosing also a very kind of divey tank. They're going to be going with the Winston instead, though. We saw them favor all the way back on Lijiang Tower. All the way, San Jose State University has gotten to the robot first, but it hasn't unlocked yet. Boise State just trying to look for the right angle as they dive on in, trying to push right on into Tybee. Not going to find anyone from that. Now Strider's found himself a little bit far away from any support from his team. He's going to have to be able to survive himself, regroup. Now the robot is slightly being pushed forward by the Spartans.
Yeah, the biggest issue for Boise State is that Strider doesn't really have anybody to dive onto in this composition, while Tybee, Roosty, and Love have their kind of pick of the litter when it comes to diveable options. You have Clear, you have Lyric, and to a smaller extent Hex, and it looks like Lyric is going to be the first target. Manages to get out of there with Swift Step, but is just being hunted down. Tybee manages to get the pick on Lyric, but goes down himself. Love finds Lyric and Maxwell, but Pick a Pepper is going to pay the ultimate price, and Love is forced off. Boise State gets not the first capture, but probably the most meaningful one out of the two.
Well, they're definitely going to get the lead on back, but we're so on early in the proceedings that That's really not saying much. What is saying much is the fact that Strider is 82% of the way toward a minefield after just one fight.
Yeah, the farthest by far, even out of his own team, already up to 90. And Lyric is going to get hunted down by Tybee, but he's just being burned way too fast to do anything. Lyric showing off his skills, and Pick a Pepper gets alley-ooped by Maxwell with the rocket. That's not, you don't see a direct hit rocket on a Lucio very often, but when you do, it is a devastating blow indeed, and Strider is able to finish off the fight with Minefield in his back pocket. Although Alstro and Roosty both having their ultimates on their side as well.
Not only is he going to be the first with an ultimate online, but he might be the first with one of his perks online as well. He has getting very close to the end of level 1 there as the dive comes on in from Tybee in conjunction with the Kitsune rush from the Spartans. But Boise State is playing off to the side in the side routes and ambushes Roosty to start this fight off with a one-person advantage. Bob Hughes to make that a 6v4 as the fight taking place off to the side. Not anywhere near the actual robot who has gone to the checkpoint and now given Boise State forward spawns.
Yeah, the issue with those divey compositions is that you lose one, especially someone like Pick a Pepper or Alstro, then you probably end up losing that fight. You have a lot of chips stacked in those two players, being able to keep the rest of your team alive, and unfortunately they just are not able to keep Tybee up. But maybe he'll be able to keep himself up with Primal Rage on the horizon. But Boise State with 4 ults to work with, SJSU is probably going to have to return any ults that they send.
Oh, but they let the Spartans take control of the robot like a Venus flytrap. They just wait for them to come closer to them. Although the trapped become the trapper as the EMP comes out and hits 3 of the Broncos. You know, all those supportive ultimates weren't able to be used. Pick a Pepper and Roosty taken out Clear and Lyric respectively. But Boise State, good Strider, the good anchor for the whole team, manages to sneakily take the robot away. And it's almost like nothing happened.
Like a thief in the night, manages to get just a little bit more distance onto the Spartan side of things, giving some shield to his buddy Hex, making sure he gets out of there alive. And Boise State manages to get forward spawns going into this. And as long as they don't let that robot pass through, they're going to be able to keep them, and it looks like they are, just barely. Both sound waves getting traded out from Lucio's. Lyric manages to use Kitsune Rush. Strider gets hacked, and he is not going to be able to move a lot in this engagement. Goes critical, gets taken out by Tybee. Alstro returns the Kitsune Rush as well. Lyric gets hacked, and Maxwell and Lyric are both going to go down. It does look like Maxwell is going to be swapping over to the Sombra and Clear on the Tracer. A little bit of copycat strategy. Everything's the same except for the tank in this regard.
Yeah, the EMP hits very well for San Jose State University. I mean, if Strider hadn't been there as the ninja taking the robot out from underneath Boise State, then that would have been a huge, then the Spartans would have been pushed up a lot farther than they are right now.
Although Pick a Pepper gets brought down low in a little bit of a squabble with Strider, and he is going to end up losing that. Unfortunately, the rest of his team can't dive him for help. Tybee goes down to the Pulse Bomb. Lyric is picked off by Alstro, and it does look like the bot is back in Boise State's hands. Although both DPS try to take it back, Roosty and Love don't end up doing a ton against a fairly stacked bot full of Boise State players.
Boise State only have one ultimate to their name, but it is the Minefield. Strider can basically use that to just win fights all on its own. Look at this, though. Tybee diving right on into the point with very little support. In fact, he just turns to Alstro. Strider doesn't, casually eliminates him, leaving Tybee trying to retreat with his life.
Oh, poor Tybee. He just almost dies, and then one of his supports gets in just the wrong spot and goes down as well. Strider does get hacked and ends up having to run away for a little bit more survivability. But the bot is just kind of
there we go.
Just left. Well, but Pulse Bomb did come out of Roosty. Didn't quite find what he probably wanted. Maxwell does end up going down to Tybee. One less player for the Broncos. Clear falling very soon after the Pick a Pepper. It's just Strider and Lyric and Hex all against the world. And I don't think it's going to be enough in the end. Strider is forced off the point, and both supports being hunted down as well.
He's trying to is Love trying to land a hack against anybody, but the Broncos are so speedy. Hasn't been able to lock one down quite yet. Boise State is going to lose Lyric, however, and that's a very crucial support that they are not going to have for this next fight. They got to give up all this space to the Spartans so they can reset as a full team.
Yeah, Strider looking for a little bit of chip damage. Unfortunately, Lyric is not going to get that forward spawn that he probably... Actually, no, he's already back. Never mind. Kitsune Rush comes out of Alstro. Love goes with EMP. Maxwell is not able to reciprocate, being caught in it himself. Tybee manages to get the pick, and it looks like Hex is going to go down very soon after. Boise State yet to use an ultimate. SJSU needed to use 2. And now Boise State has the option to either back out or keep going in, and from the looks of things, they are going to be out of town as soon as they can get there.
Strider gets hacked, but does manage
to clear!
Low on health. Clear picks off Pika Pepper, but Strider eliminated by Brewsty. Tybee gets hacked, though, so it's both tanks down. And with that Kitsune Rush, the rest of Boise State is in prime fighting mood. Trying to just find a way to eliminate Roosty after he uses the recall. They'll do that. Now Boise State, with about 2 minutes left, and control the robot again, but they had to spend 3 ultimates to do so.
Yeah, ults are evened up once again. Boise State had to use an ult there, so they're actually down 1. And looks like Tybee has it looks like or I should say, Tybee and Pika Pepper have the sustainability ults. One a little bit more selfish than the other, but I mean, it might be enough to keep them in the fight just a little bit longer. The pile drive does come out, and Love gets burned. The bell comes out, and Pika Pepper does end up falling for his troubles. Alstro is going to go down as well. No supports left for the Spartans, and Tybee is forced to use Primal Rage. Okay. Hex fallen off the map. I mean, it happens to the best of us. Tybee goes down as well, and the Primal Rage did end up getting one. It got Hex.
But it didn't get a team fight win, and at least San Jose State University now down ultimates as we're rounding the final few corners. Boise State added. You heard him right there. Yes. He was saying push, push, push. That's what I'm saying. Push, push, push all the time, right down the line.
Yeah, the sound barrier does come out. Hat goes through out of Roosty onto Roosty, and he just gets absolutely launched by Strider. Just trying to get back to point. He didn't even know he was there. Roosty needs like a transparent, like a reflective vest. That's the word I was looking for. Strider still hanging around on point. Tybee trying to take it back, but the minefield is back up for Strider. Clear does end up going down, but the minefield does go out as well out of Strider, making it a lot harder to get through onto that point, especially for a lot of the squishier players on the side of SJSU. Maxwell and Clear both really close to their ultimates, and both are unfortunately still in the spawn room for Boise State, but with the rest of the team backing off, it might just be for the best that these players are finally linking up with the rest of their team.
And they'll just wait for the Kitsune Rush to come online. The EMP used in response hits Strider and Clear, and Strider bites the dust very fast in the fight. Clear manages to get Pika Pepper, but that's not going to be enough for Boise State to win this. They built up such a big lead for themselves that they've got possibly 2 team fights here to still win this.
Especially with both Kitsune Rushes out of play as well.
Actually, probably 3 or more, because that robot has so long to go to get
he gets the stick, but it doesn't kill. The Suzu comes out just in time. Love manages to get his hack stolen, but the sound barrier does come out, manages to keep him alive. That's one less ultimate to work with. Pika Pepper gets hacked. He isn't able to do very much. Everybody on the Spartans is low, and out comes the EMP. Roosty and Love both go down. Clear left to pick up the pieces. Hex trying to keep his people alive. Pika Pepper, Tybee, Alstro both going down. All of them out of the game. Boise State keeping their bracket run going and punching themselves their ticket to the finals.
Nice job by the Broncos picking up the win in the Mountain West semifinals. And Lyric will get the final play of the game. That's 2 support play of the games that we saw for this match.
And from different supports too. I mean, it's always good. We always like to see support play the game. It doesn't happen too often. But I mean, when it does happen, it was probably for a reason. But congratulations to the Broncos for an excellent 3-round series. And honestly, congratulations to the San Jose Spartans for not only making it this far, but putting up one heck of a fight to end off their run. And I honestly cannot wait to see who ends up in the finals, because it is bound to be a great game.
Boise State might just go up against, oh, I see what Doc's dropping. He's dropped the boogie bomb, and Boise State is going to be doing a little bit of a celebratory, well, I'll use the word dance and leave it at that.
I think Maxwell has the unaffected by boogie bombs perk, and he was unfortunately not hit by the blast radius, but everybody else, they're forced to dance.
Sweet, fancy Moses. All right. That is going to do it for the Mountain West semifinals. Overall, though, Boise State not showing any signs of slowing down. What we knew them to be strong for in the past, still sticking forward through for this game.
Yeah, we saw a lot of what Boise State was good at, but we did see a few flaws that maybe other teams could take advantage of, especially that they might play a fast play style, but they are not prone to be falling victim to one themselves. The Spartans saw it. They tried to replicate the magic that they saw in the first 2 rounds. It just, unfortunately, was not meant to be, I guess, in the end.
Well, that's going to do it for this match. We got the top 5 plays of the game to bring to you for highlights, and as things usually go, we usually have an interview after the break as well to close things out, so don't go away. Right now, enjoy your highlights. Team still at 5-5. Lyric going to get the first blood of the fight, taking out Roosty.
Out comes a duplicate out of Maxwell with the Winston. Gets the Primal Rage, but is unfortunately popped out of the duplicate. Both Beat and Kitsune Rush come out of Boise State supports with Beat a little bit more airtime. Bye-bye Brig. Hinder Grenade comes out, but it is not enough with a little bit of help from Maxwell. Love goes down, and that's a lot of damage output gone. And now Maxwell behind the supports with the barrage. They forgot it.
Again, TM04 has definitely been hitting his target every single time with that ability. Bob brought out by Clear. Maybe a 6v5 will clinch it to Boise State. It sure will. Tybee and Roosty both falling down. Boise State.
Pick a Pepper gets hacked. He isn't able to do very much. Everybody on the Spartans is low, and out comes the EMP. Roosty and Love both go down. Clear left to pick up the pieces. Hex trying to keep his people alive. Pick a Pepper tight location. Hex is already down to half health, but Strider taking this and go running with it. Manages to get after Malaria from behind everybody. Roosty going down low and forces block, and Pick a Pepper and Love both going down to Lyric as well.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
At Blue Ribbon Painting, we're proud to be a locally family-owned and operated business dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's freshening up your home with interior or exterior painting, or tackling a commercial project, we've got you covered. When you choose Blue Ribbon Painting, you're not just hiring painters. You're getting a team that's committed to making your vision a reality. Call or text us at 208-369-2583 or visit us at blueribbonpainting.net. Your project deserves a blue ribbon finish.
Idaho's Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. It's finding thousands of ways that don't work and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great? Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Boise State Esports Arena. I am your host, Bryce, and I hope that you all enjoyed the top 5 plays of the game just as much as I did. And to close out for tonight, I have a very special guest on desk with me tonight. We have Clear.
Hello, hello.
And I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of your take on the game that just went through. I mean, it was a 3-0 win, very clean, but there were a few things that sort of piqued my interest. And the big one, and I guess the elephant in the room, would be that second map on Kings Row, being so close. Both teams going into overtime for that final push, and honestly, they tended to hold you fairly close to that chokehold after the first point capture. And I kind of wanted to get your idea, or an idea of what sort of went through your mind.
Sure. So we kind of decided to play a comp that we weren't very used to, and I think that kind of showed. We were kind of messing around a little bit, and they were playing really well. So we decided that it would be best to sort of change up, go back to our bread and butter. The comp that we normally play with the ball and stuff worked really well versus the comp that they were playing. So once we switched to that, I think we were a lot more comfortable, and I think it showed with us clutching up the map and being able to win even after they had a good start to it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that once Strider picks Wrecking Ball, it's almost it's not quite a steam roll, but it is kind of a roll. You get on a roll, if you will. And in the first few maps of or I guess not the first few maps, the first map, the first 2 sub-maps, we saw a really good first fight out of SJSU. They just played really, really hard and fast. And I think it was really easy to see, especially on Control Room, where they just kind of shoved you guys in a corner for that first fight. And was that sort of a wake-up call for the Ramatra composition, or was that just a thing to learn from moving forward?
I think that we should definitely be more prepared if they're going to be going like super fast tempo. I think we did a good job adjusting to that over the series, especially on the last map. I think we played really well and played our angles pretty well. I think if we play like we did on the third map throughout the rest of the playoffs, I think we will do very well, and I'm excited for the rest of the matches that we have. And I want to give a shout out to SJSU. I think they're a really good team. They put up a good fight, and yeah.
Yeah, this was probably the most entertaining series to watch out of this playoff so far. And if there's anything that you think that you need to work on for the finals, what would that be? What would you say is like the weak link that you need to sort of strengthen up before you go up against your final opponent for the season?
I think Boise State's biggest enemy is ourselves. I think when we're sort of hitting on all cylinders, we're taking it seriously, we're firing super well. I don't think there's really a team that can beat us. So I think if we play with confidence, play with the blue turf thinking, I think we'll come out on top. Just take it a little more seriously, I would say.
You know, they say confidence is key. I'm surprised it's not on Doc's keys to the game.
It might have to be added after this interview.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to some of the production.
I'll have to put in a word for it.
Yeah, put in a good word for me.
I will.
But once again, thank you, thank you, Clear, for coming on.
worries.
And I really do appreciate it. And best of luck in the finals match.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Which we will be doing on Saturday along with our Super Smash Bros. Finals as well. So make sure you guys tune into that. And I just want to say, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.